Good morning. We were just told this is episode 874 of this show. It's Monday, October 21st. We're talking about what your car says about you, a spike in negative equity, and no checkout lines at one particular retail store. We'll tell you about it.
Checkout lines. You don't even need fast checkout.
What else have you done 874 times professionally? Besides like check
professionally?
Your email? Yeah, besides like check your email.
Sold cars. 874.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
That's pretty strong. Well, I guess, okay. I personally didn't sell 874 cars because I only sold cars for 3 years.
But you sold or caused to be sold or helped to be sold.
Right. Yeah. So, man, 874 times. I don't know of.
I mean,
much
from a media standpoint, it's tough because you can't like apples to apples. I'm thinking about like my other like okay, I fixed more than
things you
74 wheels,
done, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
but that's like just part of a repetitive action. I don't know. I'm just trying to give us credit for something.
Credit where credit's due, Paul.
Nathan has been a big part of producing 874 episodes, having it look this good. And we'll introduce him in a minute, but we got a new member of the team in the production side.
Whoa,
who's gonna be part of the? Do we just bring him in to the show? Is he even on right now? No, he's
throw
not.
him in the show. Just
like this is how it works. And before you know it, there you are. we should have thought about that a little bit.
We should have thought about that. Been more sneaky with it.
I know. Hey, we have some good stuff going on this week. One is a webinar on Wednesday. So October 23rd, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be with our friend Amal from fullthrottle.ai. Get this, how to use free TV, which means we have to answer the question, what is free TV?
Tell me what it is, Paul.
And it is kind of like it sounds. And so you can go to ASOTU.com. It's right there at the top of the fold. Sign up for the webinar. Be there with us live if you can, because it's fun. You can ask questions and we always have a good time, or you'll get the recording. And this isn't some boring 50-minute webinar. This is 25, 30 minutes. We're certainly going to keep it lively, very conversational. And one of the cool things about this one is I don't even know what we're I don't know about the topic. So we're just going to be
curious along with everybody. Wait a second. Before we move on, you have to, if you're watching this, Nathan, you got to throw the graphic up again. I'm pretty confident that this is actually an AI generated image of like someone being held down by Google and like man strengthening out of it, but it's not really Google's logo because it was AI. It's really, really clever and interesting.
Yeah,
you should register for the webinar because of that.
It's Goggle's logo.
Yeah, it's Goggle.
I just realized that. Goggle.
That's great.
It's worth it just for the AI logo.
Or
the AI integration into the logo.
There you go. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So this is a fun one to start the week. America's love affair with cars is undeniable, shaping not just the roads, but the culture, economy, and even the identity of the people who drive the cars. Right. Business Insider did a deep dive into the obsession by analyzing 1.7 million listing on CarGurus to reveal some surprising trends. They have this crazy interactive map on there. It's great. You can type in your car. Look at this. If you're looking at the screen, it basically shows every state as a circle with a car logo in it. And like the West Coast is Toyota, Midwest is all Ford. Then it shifts to Chevy land. And then the East Coast is just a smattering of brands. It's pretty amazing. So
you know right where Subaru is.
Yeah.
Burlington, Vermont.
Backyard.
It's all
but he drives a Tesla, which bucks some other trends. You can also type in your car and it'll tell you where your car is the most popular, which is so much fun. So basically, America has the most cars per capita in the world, and it defines, obviously, a lot of the culture. Data showing choices reflect identity, financial status, even political leanings. For instance, the top 5 most democratic vehicles are Toyota Prius, Audi A4, Kia EV6, Acura TL, and the Jeep Commander. Meanwhile, the top 5 most Republican vehicles are the Jeep Wrangler, Jeep Gladiator, Chevy Silverado 1500, the F-150, and the Honda Odyssey. They also cover how car color.
I'm not saying anything about that except for just read the list again. You'll like, get it.
Facts, you know? Right? You think of all the people you know. You're like, facts. Okay, that makes sense.
That pencils. Okay. Yeah, pencils. Okay.
The real question is who bought that one Jeep EV?
Right.
Because Jeep's on both sides. So basically,
I still want to know the answer to that. Like some dealer needs to come out and be like, we sold it. Yeah.
Yeah, last week we covered a story of EV registrations, and in Q4 it was like the top ones. It's like who's on the bottom, and it was Jeep with one. And we're like, who did?
I don't even know.
Let us know. So basically, one other fun fact about this is that it also shows that car color has changed over the years, with now over 80% of vehicles being black, white, or gray.
Wow.
About that.
That's staggering. It's kind of unfortunate. But like if you drive out on the road, you can see it.
Glenn Lundy and his new 800% elite auto sales, he said, we're just going to carry black, white, or silver cars. I was like, what? That's crazy. Yeah. And then I started paying attention, like on the highway. I was like, oh, and I'm like, oh, there's a blue one. Yeah. Oh, there's a red one.
It's extremely smart because 80% of car buyers, that's what they want. So why not just get what people want?
Yeah. So look, go to the link in the show notes, click through the interactive map, find out where your car is most popular. I drive a Land Cruiser. So it was like somewhere in like the Midwest.
That makes sense.
I guess so. I was like, where is it really the most popular? Like, I guess. But it's funny because it's not like Toyota country at all out there. I think everywhere is kind of Toyota country. Yeah. Well, I guess if you look at the map, it's like a Chevy.
I mean, there's a bunch of Chevy. All of that like farmland and like, you know, out in the middle of the country. Like a rock. Yeah, something like that.
I know. I was like, if we had more time, maybe we'll like do a little social post and like see what everybody in ASOTU drives and like.
Oh, that would be fun.
Where their
Just do a little map. I like.
Yeah, it is. It is. Speaking, I was gonna say I have a little map, but it's not. I don't know. We're just gonna move. Speaking of data, I guess. Next story: a recent analysis by Edmunds reveals a sharp increase in negative equity among U.S. car buyers, with more people finding themselves upside down in their car loans than ever before. In Q3, 24.2% of all vehicle trade-ins are in negative equity.
Wow.
Up from 18.5% a year earlier. The average owed, the average owed amount is $64.58, up from $58.08. 22% of consumers with negative equity are underwater by more than $10,000. Almost 7.5% are underwater $15,000. And the problem is kind of like spanning all vehicle types, SUVs, compact SUVs, large trucks are all like the bigger the vehicle, the bigger the negative equity. And that makes sense. Here's a quote from Ivan Drury, their director of Edmunds, director of Insights. He said, it's easy to assume that only specific consumers trading in higher ticket luxury vehicles are the ones underwater on their car loans. But the reality is this is a problem right across the board.
Well, I'll not forget when we got on talking about ASOTUCon this year with Damon Lester, and he just called this out, said, I'm starting to see the early warning signs of this in the showroom. And especially, I'm sure there are different parts of the country, different subsets of the economy, of socioeconomic status that are dealing with this in a lot different way, depending on what the interest rates were on those cars 3 to 5 years ago when these were purchased. It's not like we haven't seen this coming. It's just that we have to deal with it right now when 25% of anyone coming in to trade in their vehicle are dealing with negative equity, understanding what vehicles have the rebates, what vehicles have the appropriate incentives to be able to trade these people out, because it's not like these people want to stay in their car forever, right? We're still Americans, and we still want to trade our cars every 3.1 years. Yeah, we do. And we just have to deal with this. And with tightening bank lending, right? Loan to value ratios not being as extended as they were. This is like, I think we've been talking about this a lot. Being aware of the consumer's position at the initiation of the car sale is extremely important, so that we're not landing people on the wrong cars, because this is something that consumers are just dealing with every day.
I've seen a couple dealers deploying really nice strategies. I thought, like a lot of empathy, a lot of like practical outpouring when someone comes in with a negative equity situation and they just find out about it for the first time, because like we think it makes clear sense. A lot of people don't realize it makes clear, you know what I mean? And don't check until they really get to the point of like, oh, let's trade out, because they've always been trading out or whatever. And they get to this point and they realize values have dropped and all this. Dealers really coaching people through a plan to keep their vehicle for like, hey, if you keep your vehicle till at this point, and giving them a marker in the sand, like, hey, even if you need to keep it for another 13 months, at which point you'll be able to get out of it even, or we think you'll be able to, and then giving them some type of maintenance incentive or discount to kind of keep them in the loop. Just there's some, pretty creative strategies there. And I think that people, if they get disappointed and you're the point of disappointment because you're the one that had to deliver the news, right? You didn't do anything to deserve that, I guess, but giving them hope for a future point, saying, here's a plan to get you to the point you want to be, and then being in the middle of the solution is a pretty good plan.
Yeah, I also think that especially for dealers that are actually the originating sale dealer on some of this negative equity, we've always dealt with this, but as a point of education, if they purchased the vehicle from you and are now in a negative equity situation in that 3-4 year timeline when they're wanting to trade in, a lot of times that can become a pretty contentious conversation. And knowing that on the front end and understanding how to empathetically approach that customer, give them an education on exactly what's happening in the market with vehicles then and now, can kind of assuage some of those fears or concerns or those anxieties from the customer right up front.
That's true. Speaking of assuaging anxieties at the customer right up front.
Stop. Segue.
Time. AKA checkout lines at warehouse clubs.
Sam's Club is introducing a groundbreaking all digital shopping experience with its newest store in Grapevine, Texas. Customers will scan and pay using their smartphones, eliminating checkout lines and highlighting the company's commitment to digital innovation. The new store features scan and go technology, allowing customers to scan items as they shop. Online only items from furniture to jewelry will be displayed for easy purchasing via QR codes actually in the store. The store's e-commerce area is 4 times larger with 6,000 square feet dedicated to curbside pickup and home delivery, featuring cooling plates for frozen and chilled items to streamline order fulfillment. Even a pizza robot and automated food delivery system will add a futuristic convenience. Sam's Club CEO Chris Nicholas said it's kind of the physical manifestation of a journey we're trying to go on as a company.
I love the idea of not having to get in a checkout line at a warehouse club. I was a Sam's Club member a long time ago, but now I think they all closed in the Syracuse area, but now Costco is the way we go. And just warehouse checkout is the worst.
Really?
I think it is, because not only nothing goes in a bag. It's just I feel like it's just a chaotic,
getting it all out to scan it and then putting it all back in the Tetris that you already made, right?
Yes, it was Brian Benstock who said, he's like, let's think of the most inefficient process that we all engage. He's like, you pick up the item, you put it in the cart, and then you pick up the item again, you take it out of the cart so you can pick it up and put it back in the cart so you can go to your car and pick it up and then take it out of the cart again. And like he said that, and when he said, I was like, oh my gosh. Like every process engineer is like, this is the worst thing ever. We got to handle that item 7 times before even out of the store.
Isn't that wild?
So you're thinking about if it's on your phone and you just scan it, put it in your cart. The next time you touch it is when you take it out of your cart to put it in your car.
You guys, you don't have Kroger up there, do you?
No, we have Wegmans.
See, they have the scan and go, but it's like, it's basically the same, trigger thing that they use as So it's similar, but it doesn't require a phone, but it's broken half the time. So maybe the phone thing will work a little bit more for Sam's Club. I like it. I mean, the beauty of it for me is like, could you just go online and order all those things? Absolutely. But especially in a Sam's Club, like the art of discovery, or like,
that's why
that thing is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Let me go for this slightly smaller one. Is actually, there's a thing that you have to do being in person. And so that ability to kind of like cross between the online, offline shopping experience is really cool.
Yeah, they got it dialed in. When you walk
there's
in,
something about that I think you could do in a dealership showroom, online, offline experience.
You might be onto something, Kyle. You just might be onto something. That's where you get all the innovative ideas on a Monday morning. We hope you have an amazing week. We hope we set you up right. Go care about some people. Go sell some cars. We'll see you here tomorrow.